Yes, good afternoon, class. I welcome you today to our revision subject of evolution, which we are going to talk about natural selection versus artificial selection. We are going to discuss as well geographic isolation and as well as the phylogenetic tree diagrams, understanding and explaining the phylogenetic tree diagram, the concept of speciation. So you are welcome to Metric Ebu. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification button such that you can be able to keep connected. Without wasting any time, I just want to quickly bring to your attention the questions that I brought together today, that I've compiled together today, such that we can be using them as a reference of our revision. And I'm sure that they are going to be quite comprehensive. The questions are just attached on our board here. First question, it is about dogs that have been selected and bred over many years to produce approximately 340 different dog breeds. They've been bred for certain characteristics desirable for humans. From this analysis, from this explanation, it already tells us that this concept is talking about artificial selection. I'm sure that we can agree as a class that this is a subject that is explaining artificial selection, where certain breeds of dogs or where dogs are bred for specific desirable characteristics. So in that regard, that is artificial selection. An analysis of 736 base pairs of cytochrome B gene showed that gray wolves are only direct ancestor to present-day dog breeds. All dog breeds belong to species Canis familiaris. We have got a table that is given here. The table below shows some dog breeds and their desirable characteristics. We have got the gray wolf dog breeds and characteristics. We have got the wolf as the key parent to these dog breeds here given in this context. And we have got the poodle, which is characteristics, why people would want it. It is intelligent. We have got the pig, which is loving, affectionate, and playful. We have got Saint Bernard, which is also outgoing and adventurous. Finally, we have got the Rhodesian Ridgeback, which is strong, athletic, and fast. So these dogs were bred from a genus family or ancestor of grey wolf. So I would like us to understand that in this concept, we need to understand that the process of breeding or the process of selective breeding of organisms or animals for specific desirable characteristics, it must be understood that that process is called what? It is called artificial selection. Whenever human interface with the process of breeding, the breeding process or the selection process taking place there, it has to be understood that it is what? It is artificial selection. Just to make it clear to the class again, we need to understand that natural selection, which is an opposite to this one, it has to do with the dogs breeding on their own without having the interference of human or without having the influence of the intelligence of men. That is natural selection. So with this in mind, I would want us to quickly understand and go to the questions that would follow below there. I'm sure as a class you see that this gray wolf, it is actually a parent. It is actually the main breed where these other breeds were developed from. But of course, with some specific kind of characteristics which people desired in this regard. So, having said that, let us just answer the question that that are going to follow now. Our questions are saying, our questions are there, which is saying question number 1. It says, name the process whereby different breeds of dogs were produced. From our analysis there, I had told you that the process of breeding which is taking place, or the process of selection that is taking place there, it is called artificial selection. It is called artificial selection. So I had just developed my presentation today where the questions will be given first, and then below the questions, answers are presented. So please understand that this is our question. These are our questions, and then that is question first, and then 3.2.1, the process that is whereby the different breeds of dogs were produced. I'm saying, please get it right that it is what? It is artificial selection or selective breeding, because the dogs were bred according to the interest of mankind. So artificial selection and selective breeding, they are terms that can be used interchangeably. Describe how humans carried out the process named in question above. The process of selection, I mean, the question wants us to understand how is artificial selection done, or how is selective breeding done. So one, we are saying they choose dogs with desirable characteristics. Dogs with desirable characteristics are chosen, or they are selected, and then breed them to produce offspring with those traits. The dogs that have got desirable characteristics are selected, and they are bred together to produce offspring, to produce young ones or puppies with the desirable characteristics which these people or these individuals will want. So the next question is saying, question 3.2.3, explain how it can be confirmed that all these dogs breeds belong to the same species. These dogs belong to the same species. Explain how can that be confirmed. We are saying, in order for us to understand that these dogs are from the same species, it must be understood that how do we make it, how can we assure that? 3.2.3, we are saying, allow them to interbreed with each other and see whether they produce fertile offsprings. In order for us to prove a population of organisms, the organisms must be able to interbreed, and they must be able to produce to produce a fertile offspring. So we are saying the question is, how do we ensure that? We ensure them by confirming interbreeding, and then the young one or the puppies that must be produced must be able to also produce their own. They must also be able to produce their own young ones. That is the question. That is what it is. And then the next question is saying, or else we are saying, besides breeding them, the confirmation of the process of breeding that we are talking about, it can also be done by DNA analysis of DNA. DNA can be analyzed to check for matching sequences. I'm quite sure that from our previous classes that we have done, we understood that evidence of related organisms, which we talked about in our previous classes. It talks about DNA analysis or DNA profiling. So analysis of DNA where organisms shows the matching sequences of the DNA profile. That would show that the organisms are what? The organisms are related. And then the next question, question 3.2.4, our next question, our question 2.3.4, explain which of the dog breeds shown would be best for hunting. So in terms of hunting, which dog breed can be used for hunting, that we can check from the characteristics of the dogs that are given there. We are saying the different breeds of the dogs that are given here, which one can be best for hunting. You can see hunting, it needs a dog that is strong. It needs a dog that can that is an athletic, and then also obviously it means it runs fast. So in terms of hunting, we cannot talk about intelligent alone, because that is not enough. Maybe we can talk about affectionate and so forth. That is a dog just for playful. And then we are saying the answer should be the Rhodesian big Ridgeback, the Rhodesian Ridgeback. So explain which of the dog breeds shown will be best for hunting. The best for hunting, it is the Rhodesian Ridgeback, which is the correct answer. 3.4, 3.2.4. We are saying it's the Rhodesian Ridgeback. Is strong, it is athletic, and is fast, is able to catch the prey, or it is able to catch the animal that the hunter is running or is chasing after. Question 3.5, 3.2.5. Our next question, 3.2.5. 3.2.5, it says, explain how present-day dogs breeds may be disadvantaged. How the present-day breeds can be disadvantaged in relation to their common ancestor. We said that the common ancestor, which is the wolf, how can the present-day dog can be disadvantaged with regard to their present ancestor? So in that case, please understand that 3.2.5, this is the understanding that we need to have is that the dog, the present day dog, it has got a reduction in gene pool. The gene pool, to say the total composition of genes that it has, it is no longer within it. It doesn't have the full set of the genes. We are also saying because of the variation, they will not be able to hunt. The present day dog might not be able to hunt. We are talking about our present day dog, the domesticated one. It can't be able to hunt. It can't be able to find its own shelter. It can't be able to defend itself, which is compared to the old day or the ancient ancestor, the wolf. Wolves are known for fighting. They are known for being muscular and killing. So we are saying the present day dog cannot be able to do that. As well as wolves we are saying they cannot be able to defend themselves as well as wolves are able to do. Therefore, they are unable to survive in the world. It means that the present day dog, if it is left in the forest, if it is left in the wilderness, we can be assured that that dog cannot be able to survive. It can't be able to survive in the wilderness, or in the what, in the world forest. I'm sure that you can understand and we can believe to say our domesticated dogs, they cannot have the characteristics of the ancient ancestor, which we said that it was the wolf. That is the first part of our question. Describe the process of speciation through geographic isolation. Question 3.3.3. Describe the process of speciation through geographic isolation. Describe the process of speciation through geographic isolation. In this concept, I want you to understand to say that this is a process which you need to know that we have got a single population. The single population, it is divided into population 1, into population 2, and then we are saying between the two population species, we can say this can be a physical barrier. They can be we can have a physical barrier that by any chance that it can be able, or it is actually separating the two population species. This we are saying population 1, we have got population 1 there, we have got our population 2, so there is a barrier there. What you need to understand is that what can be that barrier? That can be, we are saying it can be a mountain range, it can be a mountain range that can separate the two population species. It can be a water body, which we can say that can be a sea or it can be an ocean. The barrier that is separating the two population. We can also say it can also be a Gulf Coast. You know that different population or organisms, they are preyed on by different animals or by different other, the interdependence of ecosystem. A Gulf Coast can be used to separate two population species into two because you know, Musa, that quite often that the Gulf Coast, it is cleared bare that the animals cannot cross or they cannot walk across the Gulf Coast because they can be hunted or they can be killed by the other organisms that feed on them. So let me just bring you to the answer that I've developed in that case. We are saying a population, I mean, if a single population of, if a single species becomes separated, we are talking about one population species which is separated by a geographical barrier that I've already mentioned there, to say there is a geographical barrier which can be a sea, a river, a mountain, a lake. These are examples of such barriers. Can be, we are talking about speciation. Then the population splits into two. The population is divided into two, like I've said already. It is divided into two. There is no gene flow between the two population. So in other words, what is happening is that the two population, like I've illustrated, this is a mountain range. One population is surviving this side, another population is surviving on the other side there. So what we are saying is that the two population, each of the different population, there is no gene flow. Gene flow meaning to say there is no interbreeding. There is no gene flow in the population or in the two population species that we are talking about. There is no gene flow. There is no gene flow between the two population. Since the population may be since each population may be exposed to different environmental conditions, the two population are exposed to two different environmental conditions, and then the selection pressure may be different as well. Selection pressure, we are talking about factors that are affecting each of the population. They are different because each population is living independent from each other. Natural selection occurs. That I want you to take note of that, to say there is natural selection which occurs there independently of each of the two population species. It occurs independent of each of the two population species, such that individuals of the two populations become very different from each other. They become very different from each other genotypically and phenotypically. As you remember that the point is that the genetic makeup which defines the outward appearance. We are saying the genes will be totally different. Therefore, they would be totally different in terms of what also their appearance. That is the physical appearance, the phenotypical explanation, that is physical appearance. They will be different also in their physical appearance as well because of what? Because of the genetic makeup. Even if the two populations were to mix again, which I was saying at the end of the barrier there, by any chance, these two populations, we are saying even if they are to mix again here, they are to mix again, they will not be able to interbreed. The two populations are now different species. So we are saying we would not be able to have interbreeding. Interbreeding cannot occur. as you can see there, if interbreeding cannot occur, we already have what? We are already having two population species, or we are already having two populations that are different from each other. Hence, we are talking about what? Population, we are talking about speciation, we are talking about the biological species concept in this regard. So please take note that in this concept or in this explanation of speciation, understand that it is a single population that is divided into two by a physical barrier, and then each population undergoes its own selection process. There is no interbreeding between the two population species, which is also resulting in natural selection taking place independent of the two populations, in resulting in each of the population different, being different from each other because of because of the genetic makeup, resulting in physical appearances that is also different, and then the two population species cannot be able to interbreed. And then at the end of the day, please take note that we have got two population species that are formed. Two population species are being formed. Therefore, we can talk about saying, we can therefore conclude and believe and accept that speciation has taken place. Let's go to our next question. Our next question is saying the diagram below represents the evolution of different of the different family hominid. We have got this diagram that is shown here, illustrating to say our population or our individuals are starting from here. This is where they are starting from P, and then P is giving rise to orangutan, and then gorilla as a result, which is coming from Q, and then we have got R, and then we have got also the chimpanzee and humans, which are also the the latest individuals that are arising from our evolution diagram that is shown there. So name the type of diagram represented above. Name the type of diagram that is represented above. We are saying which diagram is this? This is called a cladograph. The diagram is called a cladogram. It is called a phylogenetic tree diagram. It is also called a phylogenetic tree diagram. The diagram is called a cladogram. It is called also a phylogenetic tree diagram. This diagram, it shows the evolutionary relationship. It illustrates the movement of or the transitioning of organisms, which is also showing where each of the species is originating and going to. So the next question is saying, give the letter of the organism, give the letter of the organism which, give the letter of the organism which, give the letter of the organism which A is the common ancestor of all, give the letter of the organisms which is the common ancestor of all hominids. The letter of the organism which is the common ancestor of all hominids, we can see that from our diagram there. You can also see that the common ancestor, which is the common ancestor of all organisms, it is P. It is P that is shown, which is the common ancestor. We are saying P is the common ancestor of all organisms. P is the common ancestor of all organisms. And then the next question is saying, shares, give the letter where I'm saying which shares the most common recent ancestor with the gorilla. If you can check on our diagram again, the gorilla, the letter which shows the most recent ancestor with the gorilla, we are saying the gorilla is this one. We have got our gorilla there, and then it is sharing a common ancestor with R, which we are saying 1 and 2. They are all coming from what? From Q. But therefore, our answer should be what? Should be R. R shares a common ancestor with the gorilla. We are saying their common ancestor is Q. their common ancestor of gorilla and ara is Q, but the question is saying the letter of the organism which shares the most recent ancestor with the gorilla. It is what? It is ara. It is ara. That is given. It is ara, which is given on our diagram there. Ara is the common ancestor, is the recent common ancestor with the gorilla, which is shown on our diagram there. Gorilla there, and then the common ancestor with the gorilla is ara there. That is shown. So let's go to the next question. Name two organisms that have S as a common ancestor. We are saying S as a common ancestor. Which two organisms have got S as a common ancestor? As you can see there, we are saying S is coming from what? From R. So our S is giving rise to S is giving rise to this. S is giving rise to the bonobo one, and then it is also the chimpanzee. So the chimpanzee and this one are sharing their common ancestor, which is S. So S has given rise, or it is the one that has got the common ancestor, which I'm saying S, two organisms that have S as a common ancestor. It is given there. We are saying it is the bonobo, it is the chimpanzee. It is given on our question paper, on our board there, that they come from a common origin, which we are saying they are all coming from what? They are both coming from S, the bonobo and what? And the chimpanzee. That is quite correct. And the next question is saying, name two organisms that are quadrupedal. Quadrupedal meaning to say they are walking on what? They are organisms that are walking on what? On four legs. The quadrupedal organisms on our diagram, which are those ones? The quadrupedal organisms that are walking on four. We are saying we have got the orangutan. It is the quadrupedal. We are saying it is this one. The quadrupedal is one. We are saying it is two. It is quadrupedal. It is also three. The bonobo, it is also quadrupedal. And then we are saying that is three. And then four, we have got the chimpanzee. So all of these four, they are quadrupedal organisms. They are quadrupedal organisms. Four organisms, which we are saying they are walking on four legs. They are walking on four legs. They are these ones. We are saying they are walking on four legs. We have got the orangutan, we have got the gorilla, we have got the bonobo, and then the chimpanzee. That is quite correct, and that is very correct. And then our next question is saying, describe three anatomical features of the skeleton of a quadrupedal hominid. So the question wants us to say, describe three. We are saying describe three anatomical features of the skeleton of a quadrupedal hominid. Three features of a quadrupedal hominid. So what we are saying is that an organism that walks on four, what are those features that it has? We are saying one, the three features of the quadrupedal organism. The three features of the quadrupedal organism, we are saying the foramen magnum, we are saying which is the foramen magnum is at a more forward position. That is one. The foramen magnum is at a forward position. It's at a more backward position, where it has got a C-shaped spine, and also it has got a pelvis long and narrow. We are saying the pelvis of this one, because it is walking on four, it has got a pelvis, which we are saying where the legs are attacked, it is long and narrow. That is to say that the organism, it is what features, anatomical features of a quadrupedal organism. So what we are saying is these are the anatomical features, which we are saying anatomical features of a quadrupedal organism. It has got a foramen magnum at a more forward position. It has got a C-shaped spine. It has got a pelvis that is long and narrow. That is quite correct, and that is what we are saying in regard to the anatomical features of a skeleton of a quadrupedal hominid. These are the four characteristics there. 3.4.4. These are the four characteristics that are there. Foramen magnum at a more forward position, C-shaped spine, and the pelvis that is long and narrow. Our next question is saying fossil evidence is used to support the out of Africa hypothesis. I'm sure I remember to say when we look last time when we did class, when we were in class or when we did our lessons, we talked about the sources of evidence of evolution. So one of the sources of evidence of evolution, it is the fossil evidence, remains of the past, which we said that these are exoskeletons. We said these are what? They are exoskeletons. Exoskeletons. So what we are saying is that what is that it's used to support the out of Africa hypothesis. That is to say that the first humankind was found in Africa. The out of Africa hypothesis, it explains that the very first humans or the origins of or humans originated in Africa and they migrated into all other continents that we can explain together. State the out of Africa hypothesis. State the out of Africa hypothesis. Out of Africa hypothesis, it states that modern humans originated in Africa and migrated to other parts of the world. This is the out of Africa hypothesis. It is called out of Africa. Out of Africa is called AAO. Out of Africa hypothesis. Out of Africa. Out of Africa. Out of Africa hypothesis. The out of Africa hypothesis. The out of Africa hypothesis, it explains that the first humans actually originated in Africa. We are saying humans originated in Africa and they migrated to all other continents. As we can talk about them today, the migration or first humans originated in Africa and they migrated to all other places or to the world as a whole. That is the out of Africa hypothesis. Modern humans originated in Africa. Modern humans originated in Africa and migrated to other parts of the world. That is the out of Africa hypothesis. So this kind of a school of thought, it is supported by the fossil evidence. So let's see the next question. What's the question saying? It's saying, describe how fossil evidence is used to support the out of Africa hypothesis. Based on fossil evidence, based on this, how is it used to support out of Africa hypothesis? Explain how is it used to support out of Africa hypothesis. So in that regard, we are saying, one, the fossils of Ardipithecus were found in Africa. That is one source, one evidence of this one. The fossils of Ardipithecus were found in Africa. That is one. Two, fossils of Australopithecus were found in Africa only again. They were also found in Africa only again. Number three, fossils of Homo habilis were found in Africa only. That is also one other source of evidence of fossils, which also support that the oldest fossils of Homo erectus were found in Africa. The oldest, take note of this, the oldest fossils of Homo erectus, the oldest fossils of Homo erectus were found in Africa, while the younger fossils of Homo erectus were found in other parts of the world. So what we are saying is that the oldest fossils of Homo erectus, the men on bipedal, the oldest fossils of him were found in Africa, and then the younger fossils of the Homo erectus were found in other parts of the world. And then number 5, the oldest fossils of Homo sapiens, which is the modern human, the Homo sapiens, the modern man, fossils were found in Africa, while the younger fossils of the Homo sapiens, we are saying the younger, were found in other parts of the world. That is to say that the out of Africa hypothesis is correct. So what we are saying is explain how fossil evidence is used to support out of Africa hypothesis. That is, we are saying evidence of fossils to support out of Africa hypothesis. So please, class, take note of that. Evidence of fossils to support out of Africa hypothesis. These are the ideas, or these were the points, or these are the key ideas that, or key evidences that we can give in that regard. And then describe the process of natural selection. 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 I would want us to understand that natural selection, describe the process of natural selection. One, organisms produce large numbers of offspring. We are saying this is the process of natural selection. Process of natural selection. Organisms produce large number of offsprings. That is one key point there. Organisms produce large number of offsprings. There is great deal of variation. We are saying the variation is quite big there amongst the young ones, or the offsprings. Some have got favorable characteristics. And some do not have the favorable, or some do not have. Where there is a change in the environmental condition, when there is change in the environmental condition, there is competition that arises in or amongst the organisms. Competition exists. Organisms with favorable characteristics, which we are saying with beneficial organisms with beneficial characteristics or advantageous. Other books can say that organisms with advantageous characteristics survive. They do survive, while organisms with unfavorable characteristics, they die. The organisms with what? With unfavorable characteristics. The organisms that survive, they reproduce. Reproduction continues because of the ones that survive, which we are saying those ones which have got the favorable characteristics, and they pass on the allele for the favorable characteristics to their offsprings. The next generation will therefore have high proportion of individuals with favorable characteristics. So in this context, we are saying the favorable characteristics successively passed from one generation to generation. Favorable traits in this regard are passed on from generation to generation, and the ones with the disadvantages, or the ones with unfavorable characteristics, organisms such as those they die and they extinct. So they die and they cease to exist. The ones which have got favorable characteristics, they continuously breed, and we say they are the ones which are extinct. They are still present today. So the next question is saying, fossil evidence for human may be interpreted in different ways. One possible model of human evolution is shown below. I'm having on our body a diagram that shows also evidence of fossil that can be used to explain human evolution. In our question here, name the family to which all the present organisms belong. I'm sure this question, it relates to our previous question where we were talking about P as the common ancestor of them all. So what we are saying is that all the organisms are they are originating from the Australopithecus afarensis. Australopithecus afarensis is the family to which all the representing organisms belong. They are coming from this generation. So I just want to show you from our answer sheet. We are saying it is the Australopithecus, and then we are saying all of them, all these individuals which are there, they are coming from the hominid. They come from a genre which is called the hominid. The hominid, it is the hominid, it is the family to which all the represented organisms belong. They come from the what? We are saying all of them, they come from the hominid. They come from the hominid, which is the father or the key parent of which all these ones are coming from. And then the next question is saying, describe how cultural evidence is used to support the theory of human evolution. How cultural evidence is used to support the describe how cultural evidence is used to support the theory of human evolution. I want you to understand that when we talk about culture, we are talking about a living style. Cultural evidence, it identifies a living style that was once shown. We talk about the type of tools which were used. We talk about the artifacts. This should show the way of life that was happening in some years. So we are saying they are able to show us the way life was moving, the way things were happening in regards to this context. So evidence such as tools, evidence such as the weapons, evidence such as the language, the artifacts used, artifacts is used to show advances in human development. Actually, we are saying this is how cultural evidence, how cultural evidence explain human evolution. How cultural evidence explain human evolution. We are saying evidence such as the tools that people were making, the weapons that they were using, the language that people spoke, the artifacts is used to show advances. We are able to trace, we are able to link human development, the path to which human has developed, the evolvement or the development of mankind can be linked to the historical evidences that are there from the tools and weapons that were used. That's question 3.2.2. Our next question is saying, how long ago did the most recent common ancestor of Homo erectus and Homo hadriansis exist on Earth? So we are supposed to look on how long did this exist. how long did the most recent common ancestor of Homo erectus, our Homo erectus, this is our Homo erectus, and then it's saying we are comparing Homo erectus and what? And the Homo, what is it? The Homo erectus and the Homo what? And the Homo erectus. How long did they exist? We are saying how long did they exist? So the common ancestor, the Homo erectus, this is the one which we are looking at. So what I want you to understand is that these individuals, we are saying individual 2 and individual 1, their common ancestor, it is their common ancestor. We are saying their common ancestor is this one. Common ancestor is that this is their common ancestor. So it is 3 million years ago. Where they can come from, we are tracing Homo ingesta, it gave to this one. But this one, it is originating from the same ancestor with the Homo erectus. So where they are branching from is where we talk about them having their common ancestor. So it is 3 million years ago. It is 3 million years ago. How long? It is 3 million years ago. That is 3 million years ago is the correct answer in this regard, because we are saying they are originating, as to say, we are saying they are originating, as to say, that one and this one, which where this gave rise to what? It gave rise to the Homo, the Homo ingesta gave rise to this one, which we are talking about, saying they are a genre that came or that lived from or that originated from the same ancestor, the Australopithecus afarensis. Therefore, they lived in 3 million years ago. The next question is saying, explain a possible reason why Homo ingesta was placed between Homo afarensis and on the model. The Homo ingesta, we are saying, the question is saying, why is this one? Why is this is in between, is placed between, it is placed between, we are saying we have got 1, 2, and then 3. But what is happening is that between 1 and 3, we have got the Homo ingesta. The question is saying, why was it placed between the two? I'm sure that you can see that this is an evolutionary diagram which has to be understood, that it is illustrating, it is actually used to illustrate, it is illustrating the concept that we need to understand, that this has to do with the characteristics of both, it is the Homo ingesta, it shows the characteristics of both of the two species that it is bridging. It shows the characteristics of the Australopithecus africansis and then the Homo heidelbergensis. So what we are saying is that, therefore, this is a transitional, it is a transitional species. It shows characteristics of both. It shows characteristics of both. So Homo ingesta is a transitional species. It is a transitional, it is a transitional species. The Homo ingesta, it is a transitional species. Please take note of that. Homo ingesta is a transitional species, because we are saying it is found where we are saying we have got the our Australopithecus africansis. We are saying we have got 1, 2, and then 3. So transitional, meaning to say it is showing characteristics of number 1 and also characteristics of number 2. So number 2, it is our Homo ingesta that is being asked about here. This is our Homo ingesta that is being asked about. This is our Homo. It's our Homo ingesta. So it has got the characteristics of both 1 and 3. That is the reason. Therefore, it is a transitional fossil. A transitional fossil, it shows characteristics of both of the species that it bridges. So please, class, take note of that. Homo inchester is a transitional species. And then our next question, our next question is saying, explain how fossils of organisms that existed from 4 million years ago to present time are used to support out of Africa hypothesis. We are saying, explain how explain how fossils of this organism that existed 4 million years ago to present time or present day are used to support out of Africa hypothesis. Out of Africa to support our out of Africa hypothesis. So what we are saying is that we need to understand that out of Africa hypothesis, how is the fossils used to support out of Africa hypothesis? I'm sure, class, from our previous question, you can believe with me that this how fossils support out of Africa hypothesis. So how fossils support out of Africa hypothesis? Our out of Africa hypothesis, how is it being supported by the fossils? The fossils of, we said the fossils of Australopithecus were only found in Africa. I'm sure that we have already answered it. And then also the fossils of Homo habilis were only, please don't forget the point that only found in Africa. The oldest fossils of Homo erectus were found in Africa as well. And then the oldest fossils of Homo sapiens were found in Africa. And then we also say that this suggests that the ancestors of the Homo sapiens originated from Africa, which we said that the out of Africa hypothesis, it is a theory, or it is a hypothesis. I mean, it is a hypothesis that explains that the modern mankind originated in Africa, and then originated from Africa and migrated to other parts of the world. So the oldest mankind started in Africa and then migrated to other parts of the world. That is one thing that we should understand with these questions. So please, classy, take note of out of Africa hypothesis. As you can see, it is one of the subjects in evolution which our examiners would always like to question or would always want to ask. We are coming to almost the last part of our question. Potters and lemurs are small mammals. Scientists believe that the potters and the lemurs share a common ancestor that existed in Africa. Presently, potters only occur in Africa, while lemurs are only found in Madagascar. So we have got two places here. We are saying Madagascar. We also have Africa, which we are saying we have got two different organisms that are existing there. Madagascar is an island off the east coast of Africa. I'm quite sure that we understand that Madagascar, it is also found in Africa. Can class please understand that as being shown in our question or on our map here? I have got a map there which shows east coast of Africa, the east coast of Africa, and then we are saying this is a body of water, this is water. Therefore, we are saying Madagascar is what? As an island. Madagascar is an island. That is one thing that we should understand. It is an island. So our next question is saying, explain how continental drift Explain how continental drift could have affected the distribution of the common ancestor. The continental drift, as you can see, we are saying the two species that we are talking about, which are now different, where we are saying presently potos only occur in Africa, where lemurs only found in Madagascar. So Madagascar is an island off the east coast of Africa, as shown in the diagram below. So the question is saying, explain how continental drift have affected the distribution of common ancestor. That is question 3.5, I mean 3.4.1. There was once one large continent, which we are saying was once the continent was once a supercontinent, which was one large continent. It was one large continent, and common ancestor existed throughout this continent. The common ancestor was found within the continent as one. When Madagascar separated, the common ancestor was found in both regions. I'm agreeing, and I want you class to understand that that Madagascar, as you can see, we are saying it was attached, or it was connected to our African continent without or before the continental drift. So the drifting of the continent, it contributed, or it caused Madagascar to be separated from Africa, which we are saying from the east coast of Africa. So what we are saying is that there was once a supercontinent where Madagascar was attached to the supercontinent that we are referring to, and then the common ancestor was found throughout this continent. When Madagascar separated, the common ancestor was also when the common ancestor was found in both regions. The next question, our next question 3.4.2, describe the speciation of both potos and lemurs. Describe the speciation of the potos and lemurs to become different species. I'm sure I remember this has to do with what? Geographic isolation or speciation. Geographic speciation or isolation. I'm sure that we talked about this. We have already described, or we have already shared a question that talks about geographic speciation. So the common ancestor became separated into two groups by the ocean. That you can see the common ancestor, we are saying it was separated by the ocean. The ocean is there, the Indian Ocean that borders Madagascar here. Madagascar is bordered by what? By water here. Madagascar is bordered by water there. So what we are saying is that the common ancestor became separated into two groups by the ocean. There was no gene flow between the two populations or between the two groups. Each group experienced different environmental conditions and underwent natural selection independently. We are saying without interbreeding, the different groups of the population underwent natural selection. So as you talk about geographic isolation, key ideas and key point to talk about, which is caused by natural selection due to absence of gene flow between two population species. So when there is caused by natural selection due to absence of gene flow between two population species. So what we need to understand is that when two populations undergo natural selection independent from each other, the process results in two population being formed, which we are saying each group became different from each other. Each group became different. It became different from each other, which we said because of no gene flow resulting in the physical appearance being different, again the genotypic. Therefore, we have got the, which in this case our question resulted, we are saying resulting in formation of what? Of the protos and what? And the lemurs. So to form protos and lemurs, eventually, if the two populations are mixed again, they cannot interbreed to produce a fetal offspring. So in this regard, what is happening is that the two population species, by any chance that they can meet together to try to interbreed, that cannot be possible. It is also these two individual or these two populations cannot interbreed, cannot interbreed. They cannot interbreed together, which we can say results in hybrid sterility. It can result in hybrid sterility, where the young one, that if they can be able to produce a young one, if they can produce a young one, the young one cannot be able to form, or it cannot also be able to have its own children or its own offsprings. So please, class, take note of this. I'm sure that you have seen that the question of natural selection, the concept of natural selection, the concept of artificial selection, the concept of speciation has been fully covered from this question that we have used in revision of this subject. I thank you so much for your time and all the best. Please don't forget to turn on your subscription button, and also please make sure that notifications are on for us to keep on connected, because this year life sciences metric as a whole, we are going to make it excellent. Thank you so much, and